Hello and welcome to today's Stocks and Crypto TA Charts live stream with me, No FOMO Charts. Today is Sunday, 6/26/2022. It's almost 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to go over stock indexes, sector ETFs, some global indexes, some commodities if we have time, and then we'll get to cryptocurrencies at the end of the stream, the last half. But I do want to point out that here in the USA, there have been many government legislation changes in just about 1 or 2 weeks. Specifically, I'm talking about the Roe v. Wade law being overturned and also the New York concealed carry law being overturned. That has an effect on the state level government and also the federal level government as well. Those do affect businesses as well. It's not just like a social issue here in the USA. It does affect businesses. For example, a lot on the news, the Roe v. Wade law overturned is businesses and firms have to make a decision as well about how are they going to support or not support their employees in regards to Roe v. Wade. So that does affect businesses and the government as well, and it will have an economic impact as well, which is why I'm reminding people of that. It's kind of a big deal here in the USA. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with SPY. Get the timer going. SPY, S&P 500 ETF. So if you're in my Discord, this is the upside down head and shoulders that I was talking about. Literally, right here in the blue circle, in the square. So the target I was talking about, if we measure the move, is about 3%. Did we go 3%? Yes. That takes us right to the second resistance, almost the second resistance point here on the 4-hour chart. We hit that 50 EMA resistance. One thing to watch out for going into this week is it is in the overbought territory now. So day traders and swing traders, they might be taking their profit this week. It's possible. We haven't lost the momentum yet. Let me bring up the 15. It's still in an uptrend, which is good, right? The 15-minute uptrend up cross, but just be careful of the price if it happens to pull back down to 379.62, which would be a deep pullback, retesting anywhere between -1% to -2% down here on the downside as well. But for that swing trading. But in terms of investing, if we zoom out to a daily, I mean, that's the potential setup we can get. Let me erase some of these lines because we already hit these targets. Is we could see here in the psychology, we could blast through the intraday pullback just for like an hour or two in the morning tomorrow and pull back and break out to the upside. It's definitely possible. But at the same time I'm watching out for this kind of price structure. If we start consolidating to the right for an extended period of time, that's not good. That's not healthy. Okay? Because then that means there's resistance and we're not going higher. So the 2 or 3 scenarios I'm looking at for S&P 500 this week going into next month is watching out for the bullish scenario is we just keep pounding through to the upside, breaking through these resistances, which would be fantastic for the stock market in terms of stock price valuations. The intermediate problem is we can get stuck between this resistance. It's definitely possible, just like a couple weeks ago. And then if that happens, there might be more momentum to pull back down. But again, we have to think about, has all the bearish news been priced into the market at this point? In my opinion, a lot of it has, which is why we crashed. Okay. There are still, I do want to keep an eye out for how the Roe v. Wade law overturn and concealed carry law is going to affect businesses in the long term. Okay, instead of just one green bounce or one red bounce, that's not enough information for investing. All right, just gonna pop over here to the S&P 500 futures chart just to see if we can get some additional information. I'm on the futures chart. So we do have the 1 hour up golden cross, but again, in the futures chart, we already had the pullback a little bit. So it is possible we could get that bounce tomorrow morning before we start fading back down towards 3,800 or 3,830 or 3,860. So I'll be watching out for that as well. But you do see here, even on the futures chart, this is why if you're in my Discord, I literally wrote this on, I'll just bring up the Discord on the screen here for a second. Just make sure everything is in streamer mode. Okay, so I just want to point out here, right here, that on 6/24/2022, on Friday, 6:40 a.m. my time, which is 9:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, is I wrote that we had the 4-hour inverse head and shoulders price pattern that broke bullish this morning. I was watching it since Thursday night, 6:23, watching for the potential bullish continuation follow through to plus 3% targets from the neckline breakout. Bitcoin, I'm still watching for the potential 4-hour inverse head and shoulders price pattern. We'll take a look at that, but we need a breakout above $22,000 and need to hold above that as well. So once in a while, if I see a good setup, I do educationally write it in my Discord, and anyone who's in there should be able to see that. So I literally called this out, and we did go to 3% on SPY ETF from the neckline breakout. Not in one day, but happened over 2 days. So this is good. Sometimes we might test that neckline breakout. So again, back to SPY, 376, 382, 386 is that support level. The resistance above 396, 400, and then this 407 range on the top side. Okay, let's go to DIA. DIA is very similar. So again, we had such a great bullish daily setup in the middle of June when there was such great uncertainty. So I actually went long stocks down here, certain stocks on this range, because I was saying over the past couple of streams, I'm looking for the bullish bounce this week or this month. It did pull back, but we did end up bouncing for the rest of the month. This is what I'm talking about in my Discord. This is what I'm talking about in my streams. So as a swing trader, patience is the key. Patience and discipline and not giving up on the market, either on charts or trading, either one, right? So once I knew it hit the support level here, like, okay, great. Are we going to bounce up? Oh, great. We have an upside down head and shoulders. Fantastic. Great for swing trading. Even though there's a lot of bad things happening in the world. Sometimes the stock market is like that. The stock market does not have to be a one-to-one perfect correlation with what's going on in the world. A lot of trading is algorithmic. So once I understood that, once you get a handle on that, then you understand what are they even doing? What are the bots and algorithms doing? And then you get one or two steps closer to good trade setups. All right, let's take a look at Dow futures because futures is moving. So we still see this 4 upside down head and shoulders on futures. Wonderful. The 3% target has hit. If we happen to go 6%, that would take us to 32,596, which also is this resistance. I'm going to put it in yellow. This resistance box on the top side. We could go to the 200 EMA, the 1 hour, 4 hours oversold. We could get one more big bounce overnight in the Asia-European session and then pull back down in day trading tomorrow. So I'm going to watch out for that, but we're still up cross, so just watch out for that. Neckline has been broken, and I think I just called out the targets on futures at least. 31,756. 32,215, 32,524. Support targets are all down here on the right side, 39,51, 35,58, 31,46. Why am I calling this out is because I'm preparing mentally. I already know if we're going to pull back, these are the levels probably we're going to retest in general, close enough, right? If I adjust it one more time. That's how you get ahead using technical analysis. And we know we have a trend line here just for educational example. right? We did break out. So the two spots we could test, let me zoom in here, right? If we downside test 31,303, if it's deep, 3725. Okay, and then if it's gonna reach, if it's gonna pull back and then bounce up, then you could obviously see 31,752 and then 32,000. That's how you just get ahead of the market. The problem is anybody who sees this big green percentage on their phone or on the internet, or if you're just coming back to the stream right now, you're like, oh no, I missed this. It's okay, there's no FOMO, right? Or try to have less FOMO, because coming into this crash was a beautiful setup. Right here, it took about 7 days for all the bearish news to subside. We had this double bottom, which I highlighted on the last stream. See if we could get this play, and then we rallied up. This was all technical chart play. It's wonderful. So we can learn from that. NQ1, NASDAQ futures, move on. NASDAQ futures was slightly different. I didn't say we have a upside down head and shoulders on this because it's a little dirty on the daily. Not really. So it was more of a just bullish momentum play, and then started uptrending as well. It was a triangle when I was doing my own personal TA. Okay, I see a triangle here. Identified it. 5% from the breakout. Did we go 5%? We did. We did. Almost. Close enough, depending on the breakout spot. 10% or just under that would be 12,804, which is, again, this resistance point. So if we're going to break out into the rally for investing, there's probably going to be pullbacks on the way down in the intermediate term, but we have to break this 12,500, 600 range in this yellow box. This is our big resistance. Because if I'm 100% honest with myself, okay, no bias, doesn't matter what the news is saying, doesn't matter what social media is saying. If I look at this chart, let me bring up like Dow Jones, a cleaner chart. If I erase everything and look at this chart, turn everything on. Am I downtrending or am I uptrending the market? I have to ask myself this. We're downtrending. It's going down as an investor. So then, okay, just to verify that, let me just get some trend lines up here. Oh, yes. Yes, most definitely we are downtrending. Bunch of trend lines exist here. There's so many. There's a lot. Most recently, this is the one that people are looking at, this triangle. There is also the extended one as well down here. That might be too many lines for some people. But basically the triangle, the middle yellow triangle is what we're playing. Right here, basically. And so you can see we just broke through the first resistance window gap. Now we're at the second window gap, but it's still piercing right into resistance. So to me, am I thinking, are we going to get another dead cat bounce and then pull back? We could go a little higher, but if we're going to get this again, right here, this little head and shoulder reversal at 32,000 range, then I would need to move my stop losses higher and then take the profit. But if we're going to get a big uptrend, it could pull back all the way back down to even to 30,000. But if we hold that, that's the key. Are we going to hold this range down here, the 30,000 to 31,000? And if we never drop below that, I would love to see a breakout to the upside. But at the same time, is if we look at global stocks, which we're going to do, is we still have inflation problems all around the world, especially US and Europe. Banks have raised their interest rate. Now we have these government legislation changes. China supply chain output issues. We have earnings coming up in stocks in about 3 weeks from now. The market's going to move. Okay? Market's going to move. So just prepare yourself. Like I'm preparing myself mentally and on the charts. In about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, earnings are going to start. We're going to have earnings for about a month. End of mid-July to the end of August. Market's going to move. So just prepare myself for that scenario in this particular case. All right. So that was a good 15 minutes there. Let's just move on. What I want to do is I've been seeing a lot of talk about global indexes. Let's look at them. Let's just take a quick glance. Okay, we don't have to do the full TA on all of them. Just take a look. This is what Chairman Jerome Powell taught me on one of his live streams. He said he looks at global markets on a Saturday. He taught me that. So I'm like, all right, let's look at it then. We just looked at 3 USA indexes. Let's look at China. So China stocks, this is the Shenzhen index. And you see they had a pretty big drop as well. 32% down from the start of 2022, but they bottomed out as well. And they've had a green relief rally that's more than a dead cat bounce. Let me get this out of here. That was a really old setup for somebody, but if we draw this, we had the breakout of the triangle, of the trend line. Excuse me, the trend line. So it's uptrending. So that's just something to know, is that China stock market, at least the Shenzhen index, is uptrending. It's getting a little bit kind of in the overbought range. So they're going a little bit too much too fast there in the trading, but it's still above the 4-hour 200 EMA and right at resistance. So it did kind of, let's see, April 27th was that bottom. Let me see, is that correlated with the USA? No, no. So USA, here in the USA, we kept crashing while China was going up. So it's just interesting to note that. All right. So Japan, look at Japan. This is Nikkei 225, right? They've been consolidating, right? Probably based upon, let me get this out here. Probably based upon inflation, right? Interest rates. Interesting that it's surviving. I drew these big 2 yellow lines like months ago. I do look at this just to get a global feel for what's going on. What's going on in the world, not just America. Essentially, it looks like they're consolidating here. They hit their bottom side here, but for them going sideways. So actually, to me, that's actually positive, a little bit positive, right? It's not like they crashed like USA did here like that. So okay, they're in a symmetrical triangle going sideways. Interesting. Hang Seng Index, this is Hong Kong. So Hong Kong, excuse me. So Hong Kong index, Hang Seng Index, we have this trend line here on the top side. It was in this channel for a while, deep pullback down here, but again, establishing that higher low on the weekly chart right there, weekly, beautiful, and seeing almost a little bit like Japan, but still broke back inside the triangle and inside the wedge. Now see if they can make a higher high or not. If it's impossible, because it's not in the overbought zone, so it's definitely possible. That's one scenario. Or it could just reject down and fold back down under 22,500 as well. Look at the Euro next, 100. So obviously this looks a little bit more like USA in terms of the pullback down. One thing I want to do note on the N100 is it did establish this support level. There was a double bottom here just 2 weeks ago. So this is good signs. If we can maintain, if the N100 can maintain this double bottom here, the next level resistance is about 1,174 euro to about 1,200 euros up here, right? And then we have this trend line on the top side here. Okay, keep in mind that Ukraine did get EU approved candidate status. So the candidate status was approved, I think, like 2 days ago. So that might have something to do with what's going on with this rally here. But you could see in the N100, it's inside this triangle. So the obvious resistances on top is literally this 1195 euro range. So it'd be nice if they could get follow through. You know, the Euronext has been beaten down so hard. Be careful of the day trading time frames though. It's already overbought, so it's probably going to pull back at some point. I'm just talking about swing trading investing. It might take like a month to rally, or a couple weeks. Okay, next one we look at we just look at the Let's look at the UK 100, UKX on the daily. All right, so we did have its triple top here on the UKX, and there it seems to be in a consolidation zone, meaning between these two yellow boxes here. So in terms of pounds, that's 7,000 pound to 7668 pound, and we can put the parallel channel here and understand what's going on. So we're consolidating right here. Big rally up, pull back down, lower high, pull back down to support, but then our traders bought the support. Very nice to actually see. Instead of falling down, which would be really bad, we double bottomed here at the bottom, which is beautiful. So if we could keep that, if the bullish momentum can stay, the obvious target is 7333 pound or 7525 pound or 7700 GBP up here. So it's basically the bottom of the channel, the middle, and the top of the channel. So I just want to watch out for that. It's good, right? This is better than going in downtrend. That would be not good. Okay. Just watch out for the 15 minutes, a little bit overbought. Swing trading. So it might pull back in the short term before the medium term rally a little bit. Let's move on. The SENSEX is India index. India index, what's going on? It's still downtrending. Okay. If we compare the UKX, UK 100 versus SENSEX, right? We just looked at. UKX would go sideways. The BSE is going down, trending. Okay. In terms of investing. So we draw this trend line on the top side. Draw an intermediate trend line here. We can also draw this. It's not really a pretty pattern, okay? It's kind of this downward sloping wedge or megaphone pattern. But we did hit this double bottom on the RSI on the daily. So there is some correlation there. It's still death cross, but see if we can get this momentum up on the SENSEX here. Now we want to see in the long term a nice healthy uptrend if it's possible, but be aware that any global breaking news can override this setup. If anything really bad happens, just pulling straight back down to like the 50,850 INR level. So just watch out for that. The only good thing is on the daily is still relatively closer to oversold range. So it would be nice to get a balance up to like here, 53618 or 53356. And just watching out for that. So it's kind of, can we get a repeat of middle of May? Right? How much was that range, bottom to top? About 6%. So here, 6% target would be about 54,500 Indian rupees. And that's actually the top of that wedge, the yellow line. So that makes sense perfectly. Okay, Nifty, well, we already did that one, basically. TSX, we'll go on the Toronto Stock Exchange. Okay, so if you notice, there's a trend, right? Everything kind of stopped and everything's bouncing. So this is what I'm talking about. If I pay attention to global indexes, which FOMC Chairman Jerome Powell taught me like 2 years ago, is just keep an eye on it, right? If we have a global sentiment shift, if we have global oversold conditions, and then everything starts rising, probably every stock, major top 10 stock is probably going to rise as well. We'll do gold as well right after this. Just take a quick peek, right? This is the Toronto Stock Exchange, this is Canada. So Canada, they also hit their oversold range here, and it's been building. It hasn't quite popped up to the upside as strong as the USA in terms of the stock market rally. But there's that hidden resistance here at 19,500 Canadian dollars. Also 20,000 Canadian dollars up here. So it would be beautiful to see if we could see the higher high, higher low all the way to go to 20,000 in the Canadian, the TSX. But again, these day trading time frames is getting a little bit to, it's not at the bottom anymore. So that's the problem with swing trading. If we don't catch the relative bottom, it's harder to, if I'm buying up here, there's much more risk. There's 2% risk, which for some people is a lot of profit or loss. Well, I do crypto at the second half or at the end. So I'll look at it. We'll look at it. Versus if somebody bought just the day before, they would have bought that bottom, right? Then there's only like a 1% risk, and then they would be green to 2%. So just something to keep in mind. So the support level 18678 on the downside, the gap support 18825 as well. And then we have 1900, and then we have 19244. So just watch out for that on the TSX. I'll go a little bit faster here. The Tadawul, the TASI. Okay. Just take a quick look at this. I'll do gold. I go in a specific order. If somebody wants to cheer donate, that usually gets them to the top of the request. So if you want to cheer donate on TradingView, I'll do that request right after the next one. But for usual, I just go down the list. TASI, just want to watch out. It's downtrending here, okay, but it is in this oversold range. So you know, want to watch out. This is more Middle Eastern index. So in terms of the rally, it hasn't happened yet. They're trying. It's trying to rally this particular index. 3% would be the target. 3% would be this 12,000 number right here. The TA still works. The support level is at 11,280 to the downside. On the bottom side, it's this particular index is hesitating a little bit, right? It hasn't broken out of that triangle and it hasn't done that yet. So just a little bit caution on this particular. It's probably related to oil. Okay, DAX Germany. Go a little faster on this one. Similar to the Euronext, is that we have this big level of support at the 12,853 euro range. So if we go hold that, try to bounce up to the 14,000 range, that would be beautiful, just like March. But the news is not as bad as March, so I'm not expecting to go that high that fast. But anywhere between 13,300 or 13,500 could be the target. Again, watch out for these shorter term time frames, like a 1 minute, 5 minute. Watch out for those, because those are going to probably pull back in the next 24 hours to 48. Talking about swing trading investing over the next weeks and month. I'll do two more, because I know we have certain followers from certain countries. I'll do the ASX, the Australia index. So let's do Australia, and we'll do South Korea, and then we'll move on to metals. So I'm on the XJO. Unfortunately, Australia also in a downtrend. There was this particularly bearish head and shoulders, so I need to draw that. So the neckline is 6961 Aussie dollars, and then if it goes down 7%, which we hit that target to the downside 6461. So this is where technical analysis perfectly works, because if an Australian trader would find this and draw this, they knew the exact spot was going to be right here. That's the first target. The second target, negative 14% to the downside, is down here, 5964 area. Let me redraw that. Basically like 6,000 Aussie dollars, right? That's probably correlated with some Fibonacci here. If we just go, yeah, exactly. Okay, so it's technical analysis is not random, right? I just drew the support level from the measurement, and that's the exact perfect 382 line right here. Okay, so it's not random. Technical analysis works for price, like support resistance targets. Definitely helps. So the only problem is, well, in this medium-term time frame, there was an almost upside-down initial type of formation, or just a reversal pattern, but it is getting to that overbought RSI, this upper 70s range. So just want to watch out for that in the day trading. The resistance, we have one at 6820, 6924, and then we have support down here at 6651 and 6586. So just watch out for that. KOSPI, we'll do this one, and then we'll move on to metals. So KOSPI, I know we have some traders, I think, from South Korea, so let's do this index as well. We have this, we went sideways for a while. That was not good. 2021. This reminds me of Amazon chart, right? So in a different class, I was actually, teaching this to people on this for examples. When you see this in the market, you want to be careful, because it's not going up anymore. It's going sideways. So investors had an entire year or 6 months to figure out, are they going to buy or sell in KOSPI? If they use technical analysis, then we had this wedge and we broke down from it, hit this target to the downside. Now we're down here. All right. So thing is it's oversold. We had this oversold bounce as well. Some traders were telling me like something about Samsung and that they're going to reduce their semiconductor production output or something. So that could have been why we had additional downside in June. But on the good thing is on the 1 hour, we did have an upside down head and shoulders. The 4 hour did bounce up to the bottom of this resistance trend line, which is kind of old. But this particular setup might pull back first to the gap support 2373 KRW before it attempts to do a rally. Or on all indexes I'm talking about, even USA, if it rejects down and we lose momentum, we could retest all-time lows once again. Okay, so just one rally is not going to save the entire stock market and crypto as well. This is why I keep telling people about this every week. Is one green week does not mean we're going to go up for 6 months. It actually just means we crashed down for a long time, and then the shorts got squeezed out a little bit, and us longs we came into the market to buy the oversold conditions. So I'm looking for a sustained real uptrend rally. Keep in mind, why am I talking about global before we move on? Because we had G7 meetings for 3 days. G7 meetings, they talk about top seven industrial nations come together to talk about and basically work on global policy. So they're obviously going to talk about Ukraine. They're obviously going to talk about inflation, probably a little bit about interest rates, probably, and then probably about China as well, and then about supply and demand. That's probably all they're going to talk about for 3 days. So that's going to affect the market. All right, let's do gold. Then we'll move on to crypto. I'm gonna look at gold futures because I like to see the most recent price data. All right, so I'm on GC1, and I'm paid for the futures data, so I'm seeing it here. Okay, somebody's asking me to look at gold on YouTube. Here we go. So here's the thing: gold on the daily. All right. Actually, gold on the weekly. Let's zoom out. Zoom way out. Gold on the weekly. We have this. I've been putting this here for a long time. 2000 is our big resistance at the top side. You can see here that we have it's flagging essentially up here on a long-term time scale. Flagging up here. We had the huge rally since 2018. Okay. And it's still neutral on the weekly RSI. We did have a little bit of weekly down cross, which is some hesitation. So on the daily, we zoom in, it's still neutral RSI, but we're holding the support line. Now this support line right here in the blue is critical. That's 1800 range, right? The price action though, if we're looking at it, zoom in, it's attempting to maintain this support level. So what we need to see, it would be good if we get this higher high to 1852 or healthily get up to 1900 without going up too fast. Okay, 4 hour, it's a little bit choppy, right? If somebody's trying to trade gold to the long side, you got to wait for like the lowest crash price possible. But the fact that we're holding essentially the $1,800 range for gold is good. So what would be the risk reward ratio? And keep in mind, this educational, and there's so much news that could flip this around in one day, but it's basically 2% to the downside, 4% to the upside. But how long would that take? It takes like a long time. It takes like a month. It took a month for gold to crash down 33 days. I mean, 8%, right? So just to get to this spot, it took 44 days. So another month or two, to get a clear sense of direction. But all of this on the top right here at 1865, that's resistance. So gold metals have essentially been consolidating. It hasn't been that great of a trade, right? Because if somebody went long here, it bounced up and pulled back down to their original buy point. So gold has been kind of not as hot as people want it to be. to be honest, but that's because of the uncertainty in the market right now. Nobody knows exactly what's going to happen in 6 months in terms of all the fundamental changes. But again, you can see here a lot of neutral middle of the lane RSI down here, right? If someone's trying to get a long, try to wait for the lowest possible. Just wait for it, right? Or play a breakout. But this particular setup, it's just the pressure's building. Let me pull up like a Bollinger Band. We might be able to see it on a BB. The pressure is building. Bring up this one sometimes. I like to use the percent B sometimes. See if we can find anything here. Again, it's not extreme down here on the Bollinger Bands, right? We're just kind of floating in the middle here. It's tightening. The only thing that is saving grace for this is this triangle makes it easy to see. But just like stocks, we had this low here at 1824. Here, this one little spot where I poked out of that Bollinger Band. Oh, I poked out again right here at 1819. So that's the kind of thing. If somebody's really sensitive trying to day trade or swing trade gold, I mean, they gotta watch it like a hawk. In terms of set your alerts, like really know exactly what is it that you're looking for, and then trade those. Like if somebody's trying to get crashes, there's plenty of crashes in the past couple days or past couple weeks, but somebody had to wait for it, right? If somebody's investing for it, trying to invest, turn the BBs off. This is a decent spot. It's not the perfect spot because, but that might not matter. But you can see here, sometimes we have these big spikes to the downside. That's kind of what I would like to see. But we did have the last one here in May. So if somebody's trying to invest in gold, just understand that, well, gold is, from the pandemic low, is still 27% up. And if we cannot hold this support level, the last one I drew here in the blue dots, then we'll know gold is in trouble. So it's basically playing two levels, 1850 or 1860 and 1800. So until a clear direction can form or fundamental changes in the market, it's going to be stuck between there. Okay, because there's nothing that I see on my charts that's screaming at me that there's going to be an explosive move to the upside or downside. It's going to be news fundamental based, right? So, you know, that's how I interpret this chart, and it's not really probably what people want to hear, but it's what I'm seeing for now. Okay, if somebody asked me to do gold right here in February 2022, that's a completely different story. That's a completely different story, right? Because that was going to start an uptrend, is visible on the charts. But right now, we're still in the downtrend death cross. We haven't broken out to the upside yet. So we're just kind of just hanging out here. It's just stuck here between these two blue levels. So if somebody wanted to say, well, is it going up or down? Well, for now, it's still death crossed on the 1 hour and the 4 hour, at least in the 4 hour. 1 hour is it's making an attempt. Before I was still death crossed, meaning it's still in the downtrend. So until it breaks out to the upside, it's not really a bullish momentum in my opinion. All right, so that was gold. We'll probably just take a quick hop over to oil as well, because that's big in the news. CL1 futures. CL1 futures. Okay, so we had the big, let me erase this. Then we'll move on to crypto. Great. Okay, futures on oil. Okay, remember this is that big, basically this is kind of the big energy play of this year. This is not the USO chart, it's CL1, light crude oil futures. And this trend line exists. I like this one here because it has a lot of touch points and as well as this top trend line on the day and week. So the weekly is, there was that bearish double top here on the MACD, also right here at 118 to 120. That's when the market, the energy ETFs and stuff, they were kind of topping out. So then we pulled back. But then I do want to note that we pulled back, just like gold, we pulled back to a support level. So I would not be surprised. We're already seeing it. Is we start to get this bounce. It's oversold. It's a support zone. People, algorithms and day traders, bulls, they want that. There's also a symmetrical triangle down here. So there's a lot of technical reasons why this thing broke to the upside. Also news about Russia and Ukraine. Interesting how the CL1 chart kind of looks a little bit like gold on the day trading, on the 15-minute 1 hour scales. But if we see here, it is still a 4 hour death cross. So it's right here, it's still down. It's been downtrending in 4 hours. So let's look at potential scenarios. It could upside down head and shoulders, break bullish. If that happens, it would be like a 5% move back up to this EMA up here. That would be about 113. If it doesn't do that, then it could just reject down. We could establish our lower high here right at 109 and then pull back down to like a 104, 100. Or it could consolidate. Those are the three levels. So, 100 is our big number, or 102, and 106, and then 110. So I'll be just looking at these three levels and watch the price and see what it does. If it goes down, obviously I know, okay, I don't need to buy now. If it keeps going up, then yeah. So again, this stream is an advanced stream. Okay, this is not for beginner like 101 day one. Okay, so I'm just doing basically like advanced level technical analysis and just going full speed. So if you're here for like the first time in my stream, or you're new to TradingView, is just understand that, please. This is an advanced stream for technical analysis. There are other streamers on TradingView and YouTube, or the TradingView help articles is wonderful to understand what's going on. But at the same time, if you're starting out, you're new to technical analysis, just focus on the day price analysis. Okay, I'm talking to multiple groups of people. I'm talking to day traders, I'm talking to swing traders, and I'm talking to investors, all in the same stream doing advanced TA. So for some people it might be confusing. But what I'm doing essentially is I'm analyzing the price action for support levels and resistance levels to see what's the most likely one or two scenarios that's going to happen in the market, plan accordingly, execute the trade, or execute the investment, whichever one you're doing. But please keep in mind, this is educational and this is not financial advice. So I would encourage you, if somebody has a free account here on TradingView, get started by learning what the tools are here on the left side. Just open up an index, your country's index or Bitcoin or something, and just kind of play around with these and understand what they are. TradingView has educational articles for many of these tools here, and for the indicators up here as well. If you're like into indicators, these are all free. You can learn it, put it on a chart. You can learn what it does, and just there's that self-study part. So, that's my advice for people getting started, is to understand the price first. Okay, so just keep those in mind. And for oil futures. All right, let's move on to Bitcoin, and then we'll end the stream. So we're going to go to total crypto market cap here by TradingView Index. Now it's a little bit dirty, but we hit the targets. I do want to point out, this is what I'm talking about, is thank you for the follow. So I put out these targets here, right? Like I do my TA and then it hits it exactly. So that's how we know I'm doing my charting well. Trading is slightly different. But I know a lot of people here are here for crypto, so let's get to it. All right, the big problem that happened in crypto was there's a large head and shoulders pattern that was visible on the weekly chart, okay? And that's why for crypto, if you've been in the crypto market like I have for years, you understand that the crypto market cannot go up forever. There's not infinite number of buyers and sellers on earth. So it goes in cycles and it goes in waves, right? So once we identified, like other members in my group too, we're on stream, we identified this is a relative high, this is a relative high, this is a relative high. You have a head and shoulders that's bearish here, and then you have a giant head and shoulders which is super bearish to the downside. So what was that downside target? Negative 70%. Did we get there? No. But it definitely happens in crypto. What went negative 75, negative 80? Luna did, for example. So it happens Not on every crypto, but it happens. But the entire market crashed down negative 50%, which is absolutely horrendous. But it happens. If you're new to crypto, this is what happens in crypto. After you have a gigantic, huge rally of 2,000%, 20 times up, how is it going to go higher if there's not many buyers left on earth to buy, or the sentiment changes, or the government news changes? This is actually government related fundamentals. And then the exchanges changed as well. But the only good thing is we this weekly oversold here on the weekly time frame, and then daily as well. We hit the oversold. That's why I knew we were probably going to bounce. That's why I kept calling it on a couple of streams, because I know it's not going to stay down here forever or for long. The problem is with crypto is we tried to play this bounce here at the lower 800 to 900 range, and then it fell back down once more because of the correlation with the stock market and fintech and tech stocks. But still, getting into that general zone was the play. Okay, so probably people are wondering what's going to happen next. Alrighty, well, we're looking at, in my Discord, I'm saying this could turn out to be a potential upside down head and shoulders. It has not broken bullish yet. It was trying to over the weekend, but there's not much liquidity. So we see here that the breakout, if it's going to go, it could go like 10 to 12% to the upside. So that basically is like our $1 trillion mark. Here, let's mark that. X marks the spot for next time. If it goes 20%, that would be a huge, it's not impossible, but to the $1.1 trillion mark, 10% more to the upside. It's uptrending at this particular moment in time, but is it low value relative? No, it's not. That's why we're probably going to get a pullback as well. We're losing a little bit of momentum on the MACD histogram here. It's going high, low, high, low. If we can hold above the 900 billion or definitely 865 billion range, then we could see an uptrend form. But if we start losing it, meaning the price action, then it's going to be very obvious, pattern canceled, watch out for more downside. So again, when the crypto market goes up, that's when a lot of people come back to trading. But the problem is what I learned is when we're crashing is to not quit the market. Like, don't look away for trading. That's what I learned for myself. I'm talking to myself right now. Because if I looked away and quit the market and say, it's never going to go up, actually it just went up 5 days later. That's the patience and discipline of technical analysis. Or somebody could have drawn this, like I drew this yellow box here. So if somebody's brave enough to put a low limit order, like TradingView, one of the articles recommended, right? Just sometimes you just put a low limit order, buy order, way down here. Sometimes it gets filled and you get a great fill. That's why I don't really chase the market. Just let the trades come to me. Like, this was a perfect setup right here. The problem is there is news. There is so much happening that it was basically scary on the charts, right? Like, it's just, I knew to go long when I sensed a lot of fear and just like almost anger on social media and the market, the exasperation, the exhaustion of analysts and traders. That's when I knew, and boom, go long on tech stocks, just from experience or by some, right, educational wise. All right, what's going on here? The 1 hour, again, it's not super oversold. We did try to golden cross here on the 1 hour. It's good, so good. We have to hold above 915 billion, 900 billion. So in these swing trading time frames, like the 1 hour, 4 hour, it's not really super low RSI. So, if somebody's trying to get the bottom of the market, it already for the swing trade, it already happened here on June 18th. I was saying to watch out for that for the bullish break. So that's the difference between, I would say, somebody who just does it like what TA like once in a while versus somebody who's really committed to the TA and has the knowledge and skills, right? There's that knowledge and skill gap here. Is a beginner might have been like, what's going on? Why are we crashing first off? And then where's it going to go? But an intermediate to advanced can find those levels. So the same thing applies. Now let's just move on to Bitcoin. It's going to look very similar. So altcoins already had their rally. I'm looking at Bitcoin futures. I pay for this data here on TradingView. But I like to look at Bitcoin futures as well, because it has the big money traders. from Chicago. So on the day, it is oversold range. On the weekly, it is oversold. And keep in mind, we have not oversold on weekly RSI since December 2018. It's been almost 4 years. The only problem is the price is still relatively high. Back then, it was $3,000 Bitcoin. Everybody wants to buy $3,000 Bitcoin right now, right? But the issue is, if we look at this weekly, okay, we look at three scenarios in my mind. If it's going to bounce up, which it might not, because we're starting off the week with a red sell-off, but just if it happens to bounce up, you see the clear resistance up here at 24,000 right here. There's a gap fill at 27, and there's another resistance right at 25,000. So if we're going to bounce up, that's probably where we're going to go to. All right, on the daily, again, it is oversold. The problem is, want to watch out. If you have alerts set up, if you have a pro account or premium account, this is definitely where I'm going to use alerts. So I'll put a topside alert here at 21,525 right here, and just say this is the Bitcoin daily resistance breakout question mark or test. All right, it's the red line right here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but right here, 21,500, meaning if I want to know if Bitcoin's going to break out on me or not. If it's going to break out, it's probably obviously going to 22,730 or 22,000. That's what I'm talking about in my Discord group. However, if it breaks to the downside, I need to know that, and that clear level is 20,000. It's a psychological number as well. 20,000. Let's get the alert on the chart. This is one of the perks of having a pro or premium account. You can set yourself alerts. So Bitcoin support level 20,000 breakdown question mark. Okay, we'll look at that. I'll look at natural gas at the end. I just did oil and gold a couple minutes ago, but I'll take a look at it because it's a good chart to look at. All right, so 4 hours. Again, we're starting to consolidate here now. So where have I seen this pattern before? If you just rewind the charts, you can see it here as well in May. If you rewind the charts even more, you can kind of see it happening here in April as well. So what have we learned from this? What have I learned? Looking at this, it's still daily downtrend. Yes, there's plenty of room to the upside, but on these medium-term time frames, the problem that occurs, it's getting real messy on the chart now, is we could rally and then immediately reject. Meaning we could bounce up to 22,000, hit that mark, and then immediately reject down and start a new downtrend. So that's why I'm just playing resistance and support. If the market wants to break out on me to the upside, fantastic. If it's not, if it's going to stay stuck in here, okay, I want to buy the bottom, not the top, for as a long. All right, somebody's trying to trade crypto. There's multiple bottom spots here for brave traders. It's June 19th, June 22, June 14th, right? If you set your alert down here and you just know 20,000, and once that fires, you look and make a decision. The market's always asking me as a trader, investor, what am I going to do? It's like that story, Benjamin Graham, Mr. Market. I imagine it like I'm walking down, imagine if the stock market was a physical place. I'm walking down the street. There's all these, it's like a flea market. All these vendors are yelling at me, buy here, look at me, look at this, buy here. It's like Bitcoin 20,000, Bitcoin 20,000, Bitcoin 20,000. Some guys yelling at me on the street. And I have to think about, do I want that right now? How much is a Bitcoin worth? Is that even a good price? What was Bitcoin price like 1 week ago or you know what I mean? It's just understanding that. It's like if you go to a supermarket, you're trying to buy Apple. Somebody's trying to sell you one apple for $5. Like what? It's too expensive. One apple's not worth $5, right? So you just get that relative mentality in your mind. The better yet, it's like going to a market and you know exactly what you're going to buy. You know what's exactly on sale because I looked at the charts. I looked at the, supermarket discount newspaper and like, oh, they're having a sale on apples, or they're having a sale on oranges, or they're having a sale on steak or whatever I'm trying to buy. And I know I'm going to go buy that, right? Instead of just getting random investing or trading. It's like going to a market and just buying, spending all your money randomly. It's like that's not sustainable strategy. So I apply that same philosophy to stock market. It's almost the same, right? Bitcoin, do I want it at 60,000? No, I don't. Do I want it at 70,000? No, I don't, because that's the highest price of all time. And it hit that resistance twice. So I haven't longed Bitcoin as an investment for like 9 months. I knew we're downtrending. I haven't touched it. I swing traded a couple positions like here, this swing and this swing, and I got out. I've been cash flow this time. So in terms of trying to buy the bottom of is this the bottom of the crypto crash? It might not be. It might not be. The only thing that might lead credence to that is that we hit the weekly oversold, which has not happened for 4 years, 3 years. So maybe this could be a relative bottom. But is it the bottom price of Bitcoin all time for the next 5 years? That's questionable. That's why for these Bitcoin charts, I do swing trading analysis. All right, so hopefully that makes sense for everybody. The plus or minus range is plus or minus 7%, and we're just playing these two ranges in the alert. But if somebody's a long, using this risk management long tool here at TradingView, which we can learn all about on TradingView articles and their YouTube channel, right? I might have to bring up one of my other indicators. Let me just I'm curious. How much does this thing move? Bitcoin, okay, $2,000 or $4,000 or $500. Okay, wonderful. Just to get a quick idea. So then, okay, that's a minimum 3% stop loss for a 4-hour chart. So it's going to be a 6% reward to 3% risk on a medium small amount of capital. If somebody's willing to try that, we have 4 times to buy that, right? Trying to buy a breakout's risky because it could just dead cat bounce, but basically just pop out and pull back on you and then just waste a trade. Or trying to buy these too many times at the top side. That's why we use technical analysis. Identify. If you're a long bull, you want to buy as low as possible. If you're a red short, if you're trying to short the market, you want to short as high as possible, right? Like nobody wants to short down here. That's not a smart play because as a trade, because it's doing the opposite. Most people do the opposite. I noticed. Like people I try to talk to is if for example, this is not a sustainable strategy of trying to buy long bull at the top of this move here in a yellow. That's a breakout strategy, but it doesn't always work, right? What we want to try to do, long, try to buy as low as possible, and then red shorting, try to short it as high as possible. But then relatively, you have to understand that this quote unquote high up here is not the high, right? If you zoom out, it's like way down here. So it just depends on what somebody's doing. Hopefully that didn't confuse people. But there's a difference between day trading, swing trading, and investing. It's 3 different arenas. But the general philosophy that I learned, educational, if you're trying to long, you try to buy as low as possible. All right, so I kept saying that 5 times in a row because it's extremely important. Most traders that I talk to, nobody talks about that. All right, so Ethereum USDT. We already had this upside down head and shoulders, right? Wonderful. With the neckline breakout. Identified that in the 4-hour chart swing trading. Ooh, it could have went. That might have been too much. 30%. Okay, it's crypto. 30% is not impossible. 30% takes us right to our 200 EMA right here, 1500 USD. The thing I'm seeing now is testing that, back testing the neckline here on the price. High, low, high, higher, low. So it could test 1130 all the way even down to 1040 or like 1195 range as well, something like that. All right, we have a trend line here. We could retest the bottom of that trend line as well, so just watch out for that. So again, if I look here, is this a low spot on my, if I use what happened to my line, if I use RSI oscillators for trading, where was the low? This was the first fake out low, and then there's the real low down here on June 18th. So there's 2 potential spots to buy with varying degrees of potential profit. But again, in June, it was very risky, right? Wasn't it? You turn on the news, it's still bearish every single day. So that's why I need to wait. Just wait for it, wait for it. Set some alerts. Wait for it. Are we going to go 30%? It's going to take a while if we're going to do it. It could take 1 to 2 months or even 6 months, 3 months. It takes a while. That's the patience part of trading. Everyone tries to make tons of money in one day. Is like, that's not really a sustainable strategy. Because we have to think about it realistically. Okay, I'm not trying to knock down anybody's strategy or style, but think about any job. Is like, what kind of job would pays that much money in one day? None, almost none, right? So that's why trying to take a lottery approach to crypto and stocks is, I have to ask myself, is that really a sustainable strategy? One hedge fund manager once taught me, he said, I have to do the math. Okay. Like, to me, hype is not a strategy. Emotion is not a strategy. People getting excited about crypto going to the moon on social media, that's not really a strategy to me. We got to put the TA, get some real support resistance levels, figure out the trend, figure out our targets, set some alerts, look at the risk to reward ratio, understand fundamentals, global events, politics, relative lows versus highs, all these types of things, concepts, right? That if you're in the market enough, you just kind of build it up naturally, those skills. So what's the risk to reward here on Ethereum? On a daily, just get this number out here. On daily, what is it? 128 to 40. Okay. So 128 would be what? 128 bucks. 1100. So what is that? It's 10%. So Ethereum has some serious moves in terms of 24-hour moves. It's 10% volatility up or down in this given environment. Right? That's a lot. If somebody risks 10% of their entire account and they're wrong 10 times, right? They lost almost all of their money, if not all, depending on the commissions and the spread and stuff. But I'm just saying, example, going all in on these trades, going all in on some trades is not sustainable either. I always think it like this. It's like, am I going to go to the supermarket and spend $50,000 on every single item in the store all at once and bring it back? Like, nobody does that, right? We just go to the store, we buy a couple things that we need. And a lot of people get inspired, excited about sales, right? So same thing. It depends. If somebody's a hodler, okay, maybe they like $1,200 Ethereum price because relatively from the high, it is 70% discount. But for me, I also look from the reverse as well. Where did it start from too? March 2020. Well, it's also 1,288% higher than it was when I bought Ethereum here when it was $164. Right. So this giant head and shoulders, just in case people are not aware of this, the worst case scenario for Ethereum, it could drop down negative 80% to 90%. So that would bring us down to $500 Ethereum or $250 Ethereum. I would love to buy that, right? I would love to buy it down here if it ever gets down there. But we would need a serious crypto crash for that to happen. And we might be living in the middle of it right now. All right, so that's more of the philosophy side of things. Let's get back to the TA and close it out. I'm going a little bit over here, but I try to give people some experience or knowledge or information, education throughout my streams. So if you like what you're hearing or you're learning something, or you like what you see, go ahead and give me a follow on TradingView, Twitch, YouTube, and Discord. And donations are always appreciated to keep the streams going and ideas flowing. And I stream once a week. So we just want to watch out for this on Ethereum. Watch out for what? We're watching out for the potential pullback of resistance. Where can it go down to? 1,200 to like 1180. It's already starting to downtrend on the 15-minute. I wouldn't be surprised if it hits 1185 in the next day. 1 hour up cross, beautiful. The bulls, we're trying to push Ethereum higher. So at this point, for a lot of cryptos, I would say it's just I'm just gonna watch the 1 hour because we had a 1 hour upside down head and shoulders. We in this particular box, another one hit that target, topped out here, pulled back. Asia's in session. Europe's gonna be in session about 4 hours from now. So we're gonna just watch. There's that support 1176. See if we could get this bounce and then follow through to the upside or not. Something to watch out for Ethereum. But keep in mind, if somebody's brand new to crypto with any asset, this is general education advice with crypto or stocks. Anybody can lose some or all of their money at any time. That's the risk. The reason why people love crypto is there's so much green percentage potential. Right here on BNB, there's 65% this one swing, 80% right here, September 2020, 100%. We're in a downtrend. We're in a downtrend. Living through the crypto downtrend is never fun. It's painful. It's painful if you're holding. If you're a hodler, it's the most painful thing in the world. Just to see the price flip-flop around everywhere, right? But for me, right now, I am not hodling my coins right now. I sold my coins at the 60,000 top of Bitcoin from using technical analysis because it was at the top here on Binance or Bitcoin when we went to 69,000. People were saying Dogecoin, or actually back here in May, people were saying Dogecoin to $1 or $5 or $10, Bitcoin to 100K. A lot of people were yelling and screaming and excited. Hype trains, rockets to the moon, emojis. But then I knew on the charts, like, wait a second, we're at the ceiling, resistance. So until the market proves to me that we're gonna break through and never come back down, I'm gonna take some off the table. I'm gonna sell, and then I sold at the exact top of the market. Sometimes the TA works really well, but the truth is, I had to make a decision where thousands of people on the internet were going the other direction than me. Right? So that's kind of that's the hard part of TA is, or when I bought, for example, stocks, just for example, like when I bought stocks at the bottom of this day on this particular day, a lot of when I turn on CNBC, it's just pure red. Every text was red, and I'm like, okay, that's CNBC, or like financial TV. But what is the chart telling me? Chart's telling me there was a setup for stocks, so I executed and I bought long. Where hundreds of people on the news were telling me we're going to recession right now. It's like, the chart's telling me we're going to go up. So that's why, right? It's the TA skills helps. But I am aware of the recession risk right now. It's definitely heightened. I mean, their models are saying 70 to 80% chance of recession within 1 to 2 years. Inflation, the FOMC said it's going to take 1 to 2 years to try to get down to 2% inflation. And people might lose some of their jobs right now, right? It's a very, very difficult time to be a trader or investor. TA still kind of works though. So I'm going to stick to it. All right, Binance Coin. I just view this as another asset. It's almost like a stock to me, right? It's kind of interesting. Binance Coin is more expensive than Amazon stock. Just for reference, if you didn't know that, how much is Amazon? Amazon's $116 after the 21 stock split. BNB, which is a cryptocurrency, is $236. Just to give you a frame of reference, right? There's a frame of reference there. Okay, so we had a double bottom on Binance Coin and we bounced up. So we're bouncing up to this resistance and we're pulling back from the EMAs. It looks almost the same as Ethereum. We lost that momentum. Watch out for this double top here, right at 250. Watch out for the double top because it could go high, low, high, and then it should have went higher, but it didn't. So then now it's stuck here. So it's stuck between these two lines, consolidating to the side, 229 to 244. Let's check out the average range. Okay, $17. So on Binance Coin, what is that percentage? Ooh, on a daily, that's 8%. That's a lot. Some stocks don't even move that much, but 8%, right? So if somebody's trying to invest in this thing, we got to open up the reward to risk. Is this upside down head and shoulders? Maybe. Would be nice if it is. And that's the perfect 16% target. So, but from this breakout of the neckline, it's like 257. So buying at this exact moment in time at this higher risk because it's already getting close to that target. All right, if we look at hourly, I'm kind of short on time here, but if we look at hourly, it's still golden upcrossed. We have the drawings. It's still golden upcrossed. So as long as this thing is golden upcrossed, it's in an intermediate uptrend. So, you know, could a trader have missed this? Yes. But then there's also a second opportunity here if this price never comes down below 230 or 200. Do have to pay attention to the weekly though. I switched to a weekly chart. Okay, we bounced off this big 200 EMA, so the big target up here could be $300, but it could take 2 to 3 months to get there. Just like stocks, right? Stocks did the same thing. Decide you want to buy. I wrote in my Discord, we're testing the 200 EMA, moving average, this advanced, and then we bounced off it. If you look at S&P 500, 50, QQQ, right there, 200 EMA bounce. So there is a definite relationship between NASDAQ, tech stocks, and Bitcoin. If you've been in the market long enough, we know this to be true. Actually, this is a good example. Not every, so actually Bitcoin, excuse me, lost their 200 EMA, but in terms of the bounce, like how was the bounce timing is basically the exact same. Okay, so hopefully I explained enough about crypto and where we're going. If somebody's again, this is just educational, and this is what I'm doing too. If somebody's a long-term investor, we try to buy as low as possible. This is some kind of relative low right here on Bitcoin. We hit 17,500. But at the same time, phase Fibonacci all-time high, low to bottom. We just bounced off that 76. That's what I said in my Discord. We bounced off the 76 Fibonacci level. Let's see if we can hold that now. But even the long term, you could see the low high pattern. We could go to 25,000, immediately reject, retest this 18,000. We lose that. We're going straight down to 10,000. It takes like 2 months to do that. But you could see the pattern, this downstairs pattern. Be careful. Be careful. Trying to buy the exact bottom of the market is always a challenge. Rewinding to this is what is this? The bottom of 2020. The crypto low, I like to call it, March 9 and March 10, March 16. Trying to buy that exact low, it was challenging, right? I remember waking up those 2 days and seeing, I woke up, Bitcoin was 6,000, and the next day Bitcoin was 4,000. I was like, wow, that was a huge, even I was shocked, right? But then I ended up buying Bitcoin here at 9,000 once I saw like, oh, it's going back up, right? So that was a good play. But again, did I have to buy that bottom? No. Should I have? Probably yes. But I waited a little bit more until we had the triangle breakout on Bitcoin. I had to wait. How long did I wait? I waited for 3 months. And as an investor, as a swing trader, that's key. Right? And once I saw the breakout, you might not see it here on the weekly, but on the daily triangle, we had ascending triangle breakout back then. It was right here. The ascending triangle breakout on the blue. Hard to see, but it existed. And then we rally back tested, and then it was off to the races. So when I look at the market right now, are we uptrending? No. Uptrending as an investor on a daily, 100% we are not. It's 100% downtrending. Okay, as a swing trader though, medium-term time frames, do we hit a relative low? Yes. That's the difference. We hit a relative low. Now, all traders, even with stock market, how high is the bounce going to sustain for? Are we about to lose the support of 21,000 and 19,000, 20,000 this week? That's one scenario. Are we going to consolidate? It's all in the price action. That's why I love TradingView. You just open this up every day and then it's telling me the story. Day trading, which I'm not going to get into, is just a different story. In terms of time frames and indicators, just try to buy as low as possible. And then don't try to hodl a day trading position. It's like if someone's playing a 2-to-1 risk ratio for day trading in one day, if this kind of thing happens, this is not the greatest example, but let's just say I'm trying to buy this one blue. I woke up here in the morning and said, okay, it's low for me. I identified a support level. Okay, I'll probably sell somewhere up here in the 2 to 3% range. Once it gets to that range, sell like a robot, because that's what the bots are doing. Algorithms are doing. They're buying that oversold on crypto and then selling that overbought. Generally, not perfect, but they're not hodling until it comes back down to zero. They're taking their profit. All right, so we'll do natural gas. I'm gonna use, this is probably the last one for today, unless anybody has any last requests. I give a lot of information. Again, if somebody's a beginner, they're just coming to TradingView for like the first day or week. Again, this is an advanced technical analysis stream. And I talk about multiple types of trading in one stream, multiple assets. So I'm looking at natural gas futures. This is paid data here on extra market data here on TradingView. And we had this beautiful rally on NG1 natural gas for 2 years. 2 years. So on this daily, get some Fibonacci levels first. Quick, easy support. All right, so I understand that on the long-term time frame, we are uptrending because of the Russia-Ukraine war and supply-demand imbalances. Upward rising wedge. So on this long-term day, we can see where the support levels. The support at $1.47, $2.40, $3.71. Right at the pandemic. Pandemic low was way back here. The first one, 1, 2, third support. This is the end of 2021. I do want to point out to people that on stream on that day in the mid-December 2021, I did identify this as support for people on the stream, saying this is a potential long setup for educational purposes. And then where do we rally from there? Beautiful 150%. So where are we now? What's going on right here, right now? Okay, we did pull back. I did warn people on stream several weeks ago that we're seeing weakening bearish momentum here. If you just kind of rewind those streams, when I talk about UNG, ETF, we were warning about it. I'm not the only analyst. I saw other chartists on TradingView, TA, technical analysts were all saying the same thing. It's going to pull back. It's losing momentum. Coupled that with bearish news with the double top, this thing is going down. We pulled back. So pull back 30%. Now, somebody's saying breakout. Well, it's still in the downtrend, so it could be a support bounce play. So it's not really a breakout for me. It could be a bounce though, right? Because it's at the bottom of this support on the 4-hour. So where is it going to bounce to? If it needs to hold above $6 on this NG1 futures chart, it could bounce up to $6.50 or to like $7. So what's the risk to reward? Understand that there's more downside though. Daily, we didn't hit the 200 EMA. It could keep crashing down -6 to -12%. The 50% retrace the 537 range here in the X, or even this lower support range of $5 to $5.50, that's probably going to be a more interesting spot, or even as low as $4.50. But this is a swing trading relative low zone. On a 1-hour, is it the lowest low of all time? No, not yet. But it's still in the oversold zone. So if somebody's trying to play this, let's take a quick look just to get us 62 cents on the day and like a 17 cents on a 4-hour, 17 cents. So it's like a 3 to 6% if someone's trying to swing this. Could go more because of volatility. And keep in mind that we have the G7 meetings for 3 days, and then likely there's going to be a relationship between that and commodities, because they're talking about Russia, Ukraine, which affects energy, which affects supply and demand, which affects this chart of natural gas. Solid chain reaction. So 6% to the upside, 6% to downside, 12% to the upside. How long might that take? Could take 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. But this is just watch out though. Is it extreme crash? No, not really. It's just kind of hesitating. So just beware. Someone's trying to day trade this. This might be the breakout you're talking about. Like if somebody goes to a 15 minute, it's like, okay, there's a sim triangle here on the 15 minute. So then that's 5% plus or minus at least. So 650 is that immediate day trading target. And then 580 is the immediate bearish target for day trading. So that's probably what you're talking about. But if you look at the RSI, it's in that middle position, right? So the main big hedge funds institutions, they haven't made their move yet because USA stock market opens tomorrow for me. Watch out for that. The big money, they haven't touched it yet for this week. So just be aware of that. So as educational advice, educational content is if it doesn't break above on this chart on the price, like a 620 or a 630, I would be aware. I would be aware. Because that means that the rally is not happening yet. If we start breaking down below 610 and $6, then the clear direction has been found. There is a little bit of bullish momentum though on if you care about MACD. Swing trading, you might have to wait for it because on the daily, this is not ready to blow up to the upside yet. 4 hours building because of the oversold RSI. 1 hour, it already had a balance. 15 minutes neutral. So just watch out for that. Weekly, it's still in the middle of this neutral range as well. If you're trying to invest in this, there's plenty of much more price to go down, right? Because even from this relative low, it was negative. Back here in end of 2021, it was negative 40%. Has that happened yet? Not yet. Negative 40% would be 535. So just be aware. I already did gold. I already did gold like 40 minutes ago. So it's, yeah. So again, you're going to want to see it's, for example, I just put 2 alerts. You don't have a pro account, so you can set 1 alert, but I would recommend get a pro account or premium account on TradingView, and then just put 2 alerts. Put one here right here at 6:30. 6:30. I did a QQQ at the very beginning of the stream. Nasdaq 100 at the beginning of the stream. So 6:30 is natural gas price breakout question. Then you'll kind of have an answer once it starts moving towards that on the top side. And then if you have a breakdown below of this, I want to see $6 swing trading. Natural gas support breakdown question mark for swing trading for investing, right? It has to break one of these two. It's not like it's going to jump and magically skip this number, although you can get a gap, but it's unlikely to do that. So it has to go through one of these. The sim triangle is already in play in 15 minutes, but this stop loss might be too big for some people. Depending if someone's trying to day trade, you probably cut it in half, 3% risk downside to 6%. And educational wise, depends on how willing somebody is to make the trade. I do want to caution people though, is just because it's low RSI doesn't mean it's the bottom. So right here at June 14, here bottomed out, and then we did have that little rally, but then it faded down to the next low RSI, and this one didn't even pop up that much. We faded down to the next one. So NG, what I learned, a lot of traders know natural gas, it's not all based on technical analysis. It's based upon, we have some inventories of oil coming out this week. Let me see, do we have the natural gas inventories coming out this week? Let me see. It's actually based a lot on fundamentals. So I'll keep a keen eye on the G7 meetings. The crude oil inventories tomorrow. This is important. We have natural gas storage on Thursday, June 30th, right? So that actually makes it move a little more, G7. So those 3 things combined. But it is at a relative low, if that was what you're asking. It is at a relative low for a potential long. Just want to watch out for the other risks involved. All right, everyone. I think I went a little bit over. I probably told too much information and knowledge here. Again, this advanced stream, it's educational. And I do stream once a week, usually on Sunday evenings, my time. I talk about stocks, commodities, Forex if somebody asked for it, and cryptocurrencies, indexes. It is a difficult period to be a trader and an investor right now, just being honest, because of so many global events that have happened in the past 6 months to 1 year. So please keep in mind educational, just risk management, about stop loss, profit target, position sizing, meaning account money management per trade or per investment, and just not giving up on the market, because when big crashes occur, sometimes in history, those are the best times to buy as an investor. It's just getting a good price in the asset. So again, if you like the stream, if you learned something, go ahead and give me a follow on TradingView, YouTube, Twitch, Discord. Social media links are in my profile here on TradingView, and donations are always appreciated to keep the stream going and the ideas flowing. Thank you so much for watching and joining, and I will see you next week. Bye bye.